The White Rose Movement, Munich, Germany, 1942. A video essay by Kaelin, Allison. Social Change, 30207. The White Rose was a group of young German activists in opposition to Nazi Germany. The group was a nonviolent, intellectual movement headed by a circle of students and their university professor. They created and distributed 6 pamphlets protesting Hitler's war atrocities and the Third Reich. They also participated in graffitiing some anti-propaganda messages in public spaces in the University of Munich. This video essay will discuss the formation, membership, resistance tactics, and lasting legacy of the White Rose. In the summer of 1942, several members-to-be of the White Rose served mandatory time in the German army, where they first witnessed and heard about the persecution of the Jews and other war crimes. Moved to take action, the White Rose was formed in the autumn of 1942. Hans Scholl and Alexander Schmorl began writing the first 4 pamphlets. The pamphlets were distributed around public spaces such as telephone booths and universities. The pamphlets were seen as a moral protest and aimed to decrease the German population's faith in Hitler. The original members of the White Rose were named Christoph Probst, Hans Scholl, and Alexander Schmorl. The men were medical students at the University of Munich, and each did multiple services in World War II as medics for the German army. Sophie Scholl, younger sister of Hans, found out her brother was behind these pamphlets and joined the group promptly after. By December of 1942, Willy Graft and Professor Kurt Huber both had joined the group. All the members of the White Rose were young, white, non-Jewish, highly educated individuals that came from well-to-do homes where they were fed both physically and intellectually. Some of their parents were mayors, doctors, and professors. Despite their obvious privilege in German society, these students were able to develop a socio-political awareness, in a large part due to their experiences in the university and the military. The majority method of resistance by the White Rose came in the form of pamphlets they created. There was a total of 6 pamphlets distributed before the arrest of the group between the times of October 1942 and February 1943. The group purchased a hand-cranked printer which they duplicated the pamphlets. In these pamphlets, they quoted heavily from the Bible, Aristotle, and many German poets of the time. They appealed heavily to the Intelligentsia German culture. While this first pamphlet suggested passive resistance, by the third pamphlet, the group was calling for a direct overthrow of the Nazi regime. Pamphlet number 3 is possibly most well known for its call to action and passive sabotage tactics against the war machine. Pamphlet 6, written by Professor Huber, is also acclaimed for its eloquent language and diplomacy. A 7th pamphlet was written but never duplicated or distributed. On February 18, 1943, Sophie and Hans were spotted distributing pamphlets by a university janitor. He reported them to the Gestapo, who made an official arrest of the 2 later that day. Under interrogation, names of the primary membership of the White Rose were disclosed. Sophie, Hans, and Christoph were tried by the People's Court on February 22nd and condemned to death. The 3 were executed by guillotine that same day. On July 13th, Huber and Chamorro were condemned and executed. Willie Graff was executed on October 12th. I believe this excerpt describes the lasting effects of the White Rose well. At a time of declining German military morale, the widespread White Rose leaflets were creating the greatest disturbance at the highest levels of the party and the state, probably including Himmler and possibly Hitler. They inspired other student resistance, which included a riot, street march, and graffiti, while their movement was reported internationally, inspiring German POWs to write leaflets that were duplicated and then airdropped by their Russian captors. Although the White Rose members were arrested, their trial inspired clergymen and lawyers, and their executions did great and long-lasting harm to the regime. The White Rose is inspiring for their courage in the face of horrendous war crimes and threat of death. The group used their freedoms and intelligence to rise against the Holocaust and push for a better humanitarian society. Though their time was short and their actions passive, they left a lasting impression in Germany and in other areas of Nazi resistance. In conclusion, I will end this essay in the final words of Hans Scholl: "Let freedom live."